So every single year, Netflix has to publish its official story. And I'm not talking about some glossy press release or a flashy ad. I'm talking about the story it's legally required to tell its investors. Today, we're going to decode that story, which is hidden inside a document called the 10K. So what even is a 10K? Well, don't let the name fool you. It's not just some dry, boring financial report. Think of it more like a legally binding story a company has to tell. It lays out the good, the bad, and everything that could possibly go wrong, all on the public record. It's really the closest we can get to an official, unfiltered look inside. But let's be real, trying to actually read one of these things feels like you're trying to translate a different language. It's just packed with this super dense, legalistic text like this, stuff that's designed to cover every single possible angle. Honestly, it's the kind of language that makes you want to close the document and just, watch another episode of something. But don't worry, we're not going to get bogged down in all that jargon. We're going to do the translating for you. So what is the real story about the health of the Netflix empire that's tucked away in these pages? Let's find out. Okay, so the first part of this story is all about pure, staggering scale. This is the raw power of Netflix's global engine, and trust me, the numbers are genuinely mind-boggling. At the end of 2024, Netflix had just over 302 million paid members across the globe. Now, to put that into perspective for you, if all those Netflix subscribers formed their own country, it would be the fourth most populous nation on Earth, right behind the United States. That's huge. And that massive global population, well, it generates an absolutely immense amount of money. In 2024, all those members paid Netflix a grand total of $39 billion in revenue. That right there is the financial fuel for their entire operation. And what's really key here is that this isn't just a big company. It is a highly profitable one. After you factor in all their expenses, Netflix's operating income for the year was over $10 billion. By any measure, that's a massive success. And when you actually look at a map of where this empire lives, the breakdown is fascinating. Their largest region, with over 101 million members, is actually Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. That's even bigger than their home turf of the US and Canada. It just goes to show how truly global this whole business has become. Okay, but this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. See, the 10K doesn't just show you these successes, it also reveals the costs. So let's get into the second part of the story and see the immense price tag that comes with sitting on that streaming throne. Remember that super impressive $10.4 billion profit we just talked about? Well, the 10K forces Netflix to disclose another number, a commitment that honestly makes that profit look kind of small by comparison. And here it is, $23.2 billion. This is the total amount of money Netflix is legally on the hook to pay for content it has already committed to. That is more than double their annual operating profit. This is the price you pay to lock down multi-year rights and secure the best talent in a crazy competitive world. And this table breaks it all down for you. These are long-term, fixed costs for shows and movies that are already in the works. They have to pay this money, period, no matter how many subscribers they gain or lose next year. It's a massive, unchangeable expense they need just to keep the content library feeling fresh. And on top of all that, you have the company's long-term debt, which was sitting at nearly $16 billion at the end of the year. So when you start to add all this up, you really begin to see the enormous financial pressure required to keep feeding that content machine. So all that financial pressure is internal. But the 10K also details the threats from the outside, and how Netflix defines its competition is really, really revealing. It's not just about other streaming services. No, it is a much, much bigger fight. In the report, Netflix defines its competition in a way that just tells you everything. They see their main battle as being against other sources of entertainment in their moments of free time. So what does that really mean? It means they're not just fighting Disney Plus or Max. They are fighting TikTok. They are fighting Instagram. They are fighting every single app on your phone. And their official list of competitors makes this crystal clear. It includes everything from old school TV and video games to user-generated content and even piracy. This is an all-out war for every single second of your attention. So what could actually go wrong? Well, every 10K has a section called Risk Factors. It's basically the company's official list of everything that keeps its executives up at night. Let's see how this builds out the rest of our story. Here are two huge ones. On one side, you've got the massive challenge of global operations. adapting to local laws and content quotas. And on the other side, the constant threat of cyber attacks. One is like a political minefield, and the other is a technological arms race. And then there are real-world conflicts. The 10K has to account for the risk of labor disputes, like the recent Hollywood strikes. And these aren't just abstract ideas. They can completely shut down the production of new shows and movies, creating those content delays that directly impact us, the viewers. So when you put all these pieces together, the incredible scale, the crushing costs, the fierce competition, and all these risks, what does the final act of this story actually look like? Well, the 10K paints a picture of an empire at a really crucial crossroads. And this really brings us to the core tension of the entire Netflix story. On one hand, you have a dominant, incredibly profitable global empire. But on the other hand, it's facing these enormous financial commitments and is locked in a brutal, never-ending war for our free time. And what does Netflix themselves say about the future? Well, the 10K has this little legal disclaimer, and it's probably the most honest statement in the entire document. It basically says the future is unwritten, and that their continued dominance is absolutely not guaranteed. So now that the official story is laid bare, I gotta ask you, what do you think? Is the single biggest challenge that crushing weight of their content spending? Is it the ever-expanding battlefield for our attention? Or is it maybe a risk that they haven't even seen coming yet? The official story for this year is written, but the next chapter is still very much up for grabs.